on the verge of another season. Year 3 for you here, Ed Johnson. Talk about just how things have changed through the first 2 seasons and how those are kind of, how those changes are shaping your expectations for 2014.
Well, I mean, I think when we got here, it was all about understanding the direction that we had to go not only as a football team, but as a football program, and the things that had to take place on a daily basis in order for us to achieve those goals. Being consistent, understanding atmosphere, purpose, and winning every day. And now, as you look going into year 3, our kids understand that, and we do a good job of making sure that we're doing the things necessary to maintain, those goals when it comes to our football team, whether it be on the field or in our school. I think our kids have done an amazing job this year. It's been fun to kind of watch them mature. But I think they've done an amazing job this year of taking on that responsibility and understanding just how important the role that we play and how important it is when it comes to our school and our school culture.
Talk a little about this group. What's the makeup of it? Is it an old group, a young group? What kind of team you got shaping up?
Well, I mean, last year, young was an understatement. Our first year, we were, not that we were senior loaded or senior heavy, but we were more experienced. Last year we had several kids that were taking their first varsity snaps, and it showed. Especially, I think down the stretch we played a little better, but early on it was an adjustment period for those guys. There's a big difference between playing on Thursday and playing on Friday, and I think that we just had to kind of endure those growing pains. But this year, moving forward, I think we are, even though we're still on the young side. I mean, I feel like our best group is our juniors and our sophomore class. Not that our seniors have good football players, but I just feel like collectively as a whole, that's where our strength and our numbers are, and that's where our strength and our leadership is. So we're still going to have some things that we're going to have to figure out as we go through the journey. But I'm excited. We're another year older, and I feel like that just having what little experience that we do have is going to pay huge dividends for us down the road.
You mentioned the leadership and numbers in that class. Talk about what makes that class unique and kind of who's leading the way in that group.
Well, the special thing about our rising junior class is that was the rising freshman class when I got here. And, our staff did a great job of really just reaching out to those kids and connecting with those kids, like we do with all of our kids. But just, we knew that there's some things that when you come start as late as we did, there's some things that you can address right away, and then there's some things you're going to have to address as time goes on. And that group there has just done an amazing job, whether you're talking about Orion Pittman or Ellie Vasquez. Those guys have kind of become the nucleus and the anchors in our locker room, in our work, whether it's our off-season or mat drills or our preseason stuff. So just really excited about that. And same way with the sophomore group. We had several kids. We just finished up our night testing. We had 2 sophomores. One increased 16 points. Cody Long increased 16 points on his night testing, and Josh Henderson increased 11. So that just speaks for the work that they've put in and how many gains and the gains that they've been able to gain between their freshman and sophomore year.
Night testing, is that strength training?
It's basically 6 events. It's the bench squat clean, the pro agility, the 300-yard shuttle, which is a conditioning test that they have to pass, along with the 40.
What, as far as looking at the strength of this team, outside of individual classes, I mean, offense, defense, what do you think y'all are going to be best at this season?
Well, I hope blocking and tackling, to be honest with you. We've got to block better and we've got to tackle better. And, a lot of that, again, was back to our youth last year. Physically at times we were outmatched. And it's tough to compete and win when that's the case. But I feel like we've had a great offseason. But I think we want to run the football. And that's what we do. And defensively, we want to stop the run. So I think, it's going to get down to our trench play. And, we've got to get those guys up front, whether it be offensively or defensively, are going to have to do a heck of a job for us.
You know, physically, I mean, do you feel like y'all are going to be up to competing in the trenches a little bit better this year?
Well, I don't know if we didn't compete last year. I just think at times we were overmatched.
Yeah.
You know, our kids, they compete their butts off. I mean, we do a great job working hard and doing the things the way they need to be done in order to put themselves in position to be successful. But, you know, when you got 15-year-old kids competing against 18-year-old kids, you know, physically there's going to be some mismatches there. And we played some good football teams last year. But we're looking to make the next step and continually to mature and grow in the things that we're doing. And I think that we are going to be much better in all aspects.
You know, you mentioned the way that things have grown, I guess, here in the program, and the way the kids are kind of expecting things now. You know, how are you seeing that for these freshmen that are coming in? I mean, what's it like to see them kind of start and have, you know, that high level set for them from the start?
Well, you know, that's the great thing about the difference between building a program and building a team. And, you know, on day one, that's been our goal, is to build a program. And building a program, first of all, it's got to start with the men in your program. You know, and our job is to teach them, you know, they got to leave better men when they leave than when they came in. That's the big thing. Whether that's being a better son, you know, a better future husband, you know, a better cousin, a better grandchild, whatever the case may be. You know, that's definitely our goal. And also to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that's what the kids embrace. You know, it all gets down to relationships. And, you know, the relationships that our kids develop with one another and with our staff, you know, those are things that are going to stand the test of time. And, you know, we talk about all the time, you know, faith, family, academics, football. And that's a big deal. And our kids understand that. And that's what we're about here at Johnson Football. And it's been fun to watch our kids rally around those things.
What, you know, as far as just obviously last year was an adjustment, but how did the kids take to that? I mean, you know, obviously having such a great first season and then having to kind of rebound last year. I mean, psychologically, was that tough for them to deal with at times?
Well, I think it speaks definitely to our lack of experience in those situations. You got to think about it. 2-8 on paper don't look very good, but you're 12 points from being 5-5. Now, I know that, my staff knows that, and our kids know that. Okay, you probably didn't know that. The people in our community probably don't know that. So, you know, yeah, 2-8's it's tough, but you have to go through a 2-8 to enjoy a 6-4, a 7-3. It's not that you work any harder or any less harder, or you do things. You got to stay the course. You got to believe in what you believe in. You know, our program is founded on principles that we buy into. And we just got to continue to stay the course. And, you know, there's sometimes, unfortunately, that there are going to be some lulls and some valleys, and it all can't be peaks. But, you know, at the end of the year, our program's never going to be defined about what our overall record is. And that's what it really boils down to. People that truly know what Johnson football is and is involved in Johnson football is going to understand that the purpose that we're using football to teach all aspects of life through is the more important goal. Now, when we do that, when we go 6-4, yeah, it's fun. It's great. But there's going to be some times where, you know, in order to learn about adversity, you got to experience some adversity.
Absolutely. Finally, just how much excitement is there around this group this season and what you feel like y'all can do?
You know, that's a good question, because, you know, our last staff meeting, as you know, we just finished up the acclimation period, but we're anxious to see. You know, I don't want to set limits on this group. I really don't. And it's not one of those things that I'm scared to set a goal or put something out there. You know, I think I think we can be pretty good. Yes, you know, we all teams have issues that you got to address in the preseason and early on. But, you know, I think if we can stay healthy, I mean, that's going to be the big thing, because, you know, depth has always been an issue for us. Not that we don't have good numbers out, but it's just the experience within those numbers. And I think if we can stay healthy, I think we're going to have a very, very good year. I think our kids are starting to understand that and putting their hands around that. You know, our spring it was probably one of the most physical spring games I've been around. And that's going to be the key, is us just playing a physical brand of football and doing it the right way, and just being able to execute when it's time to execute, and going from there.